There is a specific kind of silence that fills a room when you realize you no longer recognize the person you used to be. It's not the loud chaos of a breakdown, it's quieter. It happens in the small spaces. You scroll through old photos and see a stranger smiling back. You hear yourself laugh at a joke you used to find funny and it sounds hollow. You walk through your daily routine and everything is in its right place, but nothing feels like it belongs to you. You feel untethered, like a boat that slipped its mooring in the night. You tell yourself you should be grateful that nothing is wrong, but the feeling persists, a persistent low-frequency hum of wrongness. You feel lost, and the most unsettling part is you lost yourself not by failing, but by growing. You look around and everyone else seems to be moving along a straight line. They are collecting promotions, buying homes, solidifying identities. But you feel like you are dissolving. You question everything. Your career path feels like a costume you forgot to take off. Your relationships feel like they are based on a version of you that no longer exists. You start to withdraw because it takes too much energy to perform the role of the person everyone expects you to be. You become irritable with the people who love you, not because you are angry at them, but because their presence demands you show up as someone you are currently outgrowing. You feel guilty for feeling this way. You look at your life and think, this is what I wanted. Why do I want to leave? You might start to pathologize this feeling. You tell yourself you are depressed. You tell yourself you are ungrateful. You tell yourself you are broken. You start searching for what is wrong with you, trying to fix the part of you that suddenly feels like it doesn't fit. But here is the psychological truth you are missing. You are not lost because you are regressing. You are lost because you evolved, and your brain has not caught up to the new data. This feeling is a specific type of cognitive dissonance. It is an identity gap. In psychology, your identity is not a single static monument. It is a narrative. It is the story you tell yourself about yourself to create coherence in the world. This story is built from your past choices, your relationships, your achievements, and your failures. It is the old you. This narrative gives you a sense of continuity. It tells you, I am the type of person who does this. I am the type of person who wants that. But you are not a story. You are a living process, and sometimes the process outgrows the plot. When you grow, when you learn new things, when you face new depths of emotion, when your values shift, you are writing new chapters. But your brain is slow to update the table of contents. It is still trying to force your new experiences, your new desires, and your new sensitivities into the old narrative. When the new data doesn't fit, the brain generates an error signal. That error signal is what you are calling feeling lost. It is not a sign of damage. It is a sign of integration failure. The hardware has updated, but the operating system hasn't rebooted. Think of it like a hermit crab. The crab is born with a soft abdomen. To survive, it must find a shell. It finds one that fits, and it grows into it. The shell becomes its home, its protection, its identity. But the crab keeps growing. One day it wakes up and the shell that once saved its life now feels suffocating. It is too small. The crab doesn't see a problem with itself. It doesn't think it is broken for feeling cramped. It knows instinctively that it is time to find a new shell. But you, as a human, are a crab that has forgotten it can leave. You are clinging to the old shell, bruising yourself against its inner walls, wondering why you feel so trapped. You feel lost because you are in between shells. You have left the old one, but you haven't found the new one yet. You are soft, exposed, and wandering. This is why you feel like you are floating. Your old goals, the promotion, the validation, the material markers, they were part of the old shell. They made sense in that structure. But now, in the open air, they feel meaningless. Your brain is still firing dopamine at the thought of achieving those old goals, but when you get close to them, you feel nothing. This is because your dopaminergic system, the reward pathway, is tied to prediction. Your brain predicts that achieving X will make you feel good, because it used to. But you have changed. The prediction is wrong. The reward doesn't arrive. You are left standing in the rubble of a goal you just achieved, wondering why you aren't happy. This process is neurologically expensive. The brain craves predictability. The default mode network, the part of your brain that activates when you are at rest and thinking about yourself, is constantly trying to reinforce the old narrative. It tells you stories about who you are to reduce uncertainty. When you try to act outside that narrative, it creates conflict. It feels like you are fighting yourself. You want to be alone to think, but the default mode network tells you that you are isolating and being antisocial. You want to change careers, but it tells you that you are throwing away stability. This internal war is exhausting. It makes you want to do nothing. It makes you want to go back to the old shell, even if it hurts, just to stop the noise. So how do you navigate this space between shells? How do you find solid ground when you feel like you are made of vapor? You cannot think your way out of this because your thinking is the problem. Your thoughts are still using the old map. You need a new framework, grounded in how the brain actually works, to guide you through the transition. The first step is to stop looking for the exit. You are treating this feeling of being lost like a problem to be solved, a puzzle to crack. You want to find the new answer, the new identity, the new shell, and clamp onto it immediately. This urgency is a trap. It forces you to grab the nearest available identity, often just a slightly modified version of the old one, which guarantees you will be back here in 6 months. Instead, you must practice negative capability, the ability to remain in uncertainty, mystery, and doubt without grasping for fact or reason. Psychologically, this means allowing your prefrontal cortex to stop frantically searching for solutions. When you stop forcing a conclusion, you give space for your limbic system, your emotional brain, to process the new data without censorship. It means sitting in the discomfort and saying, "I don't know who I am yet," and that is allowed. In daily life, this looks like resisting the urge to update your LinkedIn profile or announce a life change. It looks like waking up on a Saturday with no plan and allowing yourself to feel the boredom, the anxiety, and the openness without filling it with distraction. The second step is to audit your emotional responses, not your thoughts. Your thoughts will lie to you right now. They will tell you stories about the past and the future, but your emotions are data. They are signals from your evolved self, the new crap, trying to tell you what fits and what doesn't. In behavioral psychology, we know that avoidance behaviors are strong indicators of mismatch. Start paying attention to the micro moments in your day, not the big existential crises, but the small frictions. When you get an email about a certain type of task, do you feel a wave of exhaustion or a spark of interest? When you talk to a certain friend, do you feel drained before the conversation even starts, or do you feel curious? These are not random feelings. They are your nervous system telling you in real time what is compatible with your emerging self and what is not. The mechanism here is interoception, the sense of the internal state of the body. Your gut feelings are physiological signals that precede conscious thought. Start logging them. Don't judge them. Just notice. This drained me. This lit me up. You are not deciding what to do yet. You are just collecting data on what is alive in you and what is dead. The third step is to experiment with identity, not commit to it. The reason you feel paralyzed is you think you have to find the truth, the one new identity you will wear for the rest of your life. That pressure is too heavy. It keeps you stuck. Instead, use the psychological principle of self-concept clarity through behavioral variation. You cannot think your way into a new identity. You have to behave your way into it, one small experiment at a time. Frame it as a scientist would. You are not quitting your job to become an artist, which is a terrifying, permanent identity shift. You are simply running an experiment called, "What does it feel like to paint for 1 hour on a Sunday?" You are not reinventing yourself as a minimalist. You are running an experiment called, "What happens if I donate 5 things I never use?"
These low-stakes actions send feedback to your brain. They provide new data points. They show your default mode network that you can survive outside the old narrative. Each small experiment is a tentative leg stretch in the open air. Some experiments will feel good. Some will feel wrong. The ones that feel good, you do again. Slowly, you are not deciding who you are discovering who you are becoming.
The fourth step is to deliberately grieve the old you. This is the step everyone skips, and it is why so many people remain stuck in a state of floating anxiety. You cannot move forward if you are secretly bleeding out from the past. The old you, the one in the shell, was not an enemy. That version got you here. That version survived things. That version built the foundation that allowed you to outgrow it. But right now, you might feel a sense of loss or even betrayal toward that person. You might feel like you are abandoning them. You have to consciously perform a ritual of gratitude and release. This is rooted in narrative psychology. We need coherent life stories. If you simply discard the past, your narrative has a hole in it. You need to integrate the past into the present story, not as the main character, but as the opening chapter. You can sit quietly and mentally thank the old you for the skills, the protection, and the lessons. Tell them you are taking it from here. This act of internal validation stops the subconscious pull to regress. It tells your brain that the old self is not being destroyed, it is being honored and evolved. This creates emotional closure, which lowers the resistance to change. The fifth and final step is to redefine your goal from happiness to alignment. The reason you feel so lost is that you are using the old metric of success. The old you wanted to feel happy, which is a high arousal, transient state. The new you needs to feel aligned, which is a low arousal, sustainable state of congruence. You have been chasing dopamine hits, the promotion, the purchase, the validation, but your evolved self is looking for serotonin and oxytocin, the quiet chemicals of contentment, connection, and peace. This is a shift from external achievement to internal coherence. In daily life, this means making decisions based on how they feel in your body, not how they look on paper. It means choosing the quiet evening over the social obligation because it feels aligned, not because you are antisocial. It means choosing the slower career path that allows you to think over the high-pressure track that pays more, because the slower path feels like breathing, and the faster one feels like holding your breath. When you start moving through these steps, something shifts. The fog doesn't lift all at once, but it thins. You realize that the feeling of being lost was not a sign that you were off the path. It was the path. The space between shells is not an empty void. It is a gestational chamber. It is the place where the old structure breaks down so the new one can form. You cannot see the new shell yet because you are busy building the eyes that will recognize it. And this brings us to the one mental model you can hold on to when the uncertainty feels like too much. Imagine you are in a dark room and you are holding a small candle. Right now, you are frustrated because the candle doesn't illuminate the entire room. You cannot see the exit. You cannot see the furniture. You feel blind and lost. But the purpose of the candle is not to show you the whole room at once. The purpose of the candle is to show you the next step. It lights the ground directly in front of you. If you take that step, the candle moves with you, and it lights the next step. You don't need to know where you are going. You only need to see well enough to take the next step, and then the next, and then the next. Eventually, you look back, and the path is illuminated behind you. You realize you weren't wandering, you were walking. The quiet truth at the end of this is that you will never fully arrive. You are a hermit crab for life. You will outgrow shells again. You will feel this disorientation again. But the next time, you will recognize it. You will know it is not a sign of being broken. It is a sign of being alive. It is the signal that growth has occurred. So when the silence returns, when the old photos look like strangers again, you won't panic. You will thank the shell you are leaving.
You will feel the discomfort of the open air, and you will know with a quiet certainty that the wandering is the work. The only way to be found is to be willing to be lost.